They basically, girl, they did a whole remodel of my mouth, and now is my time to tell you about it. Hey, welcome to my video. If you're from my Instagram, I love you, and if you're not from my Instagram, love you all the same. Welcome to another Invisalign update where I take you with me on my Invisalign journey. So if you have not caught up, I recommend that you do so right here because otherwise you might be a little bit confused because a lot of stuff is happening. And also you have to remember that I am not a dentist, I am not an orthodontist, I am not a professional in any way, shape, or form. Whenever I do videos like this, it's not to give advice. I'm just telling you about my story, and if you do actually need help or have questions and concerns, obviously consult a professional, not a random girl on the internet. Now that we got the formalities out of the way, let's begin. So you might have already noticed a little bit something different about me. And yes, you're right, it is all these elastics in my mouth. Now that is because I am on my third set of aligners right now, which I will get to in a couple of minutes. But before then, I need to update you on what happened while I was still by the end of my last set. So by the end of set 2, my aligners really were not fitting well, to the point where I definitely had more of a pronounced lisp, and they mostly just didn't fit well on this one tooth that we always talk about in these videos, because it's honestly been a problem since like around the end of my first set. It just does not want to cooperate. It is lagging, it is a little lazy, and that's why my aligners just were not fitting well around it at all. And so I called the office, I called my orthodontist, and they told me to, before moving on to my next aligner, wear the one that I was currently on for another 3 days. Now, if that does nothing, then extend that to another 10 days. And so that's what I did. I wore it for 3 days. It did absolutely nothing. My tooth was just not fitting anywhere near that. And so because they told me to, I extended it to another 10 days, and then I switched to the next one. And then the one after that just wasn't fitting right either. But because at that point I had already gotten my scan done and was waiting for the third set of aligners, they just told me to, you know, just use them while we wait for the third set to arrive. And that's when we're really gonna start focusing on the issue, and boy did we. But again, more on that in a second. One other thing that happened though is I want to say about 2 days before I went to the office to get my scan, one of my bottom hooks that I used to hook my Invisalign elastics to flew out of my mouth. Now this has happened before to the other hook, so obviously it was time for this hook to stir up some drama as well. And since I was already scheduled to go to the office, they just told me not to wear any elastics at all, because if you're not able to wear them on both sides, you're not allowed to only wear one side of the elastic and not the other. So they told me to leave it as is. I was gonna be coming in 2 days anyway, and that's when they actually fixed it and replaced it, and I was able to wear my elastics once again. Now, at the time, I only had 2 hooks here, so I was only wearing 2 elastics, and honestly they were pretty far back on my bottom teeth, so they weren't even that visible at all. And then when I went to the office to pick up my third set of aligners and to get the first aligner put in, they basically, girl, they did a whole remodel of my mouth, and now is my time to tell you about it. So I'm not gonna get really close as I normally don't in these videos because that's graphic and gross and definitely TMI, but I am gonna tell you all about it. So one of the hooks that they previously had put in, the one on the right, stayed in its place. However, the one on the left literally got demolished and they took it out. But on the bottom, they added 3 new hooks. Now these hooks are definitely large and in charge, so I do kind of feel them when I'm speaking or eating or stuff like that. And they're also pretty hard to miss. And on the top, they added 4 new hooks. And same story as for the bottom ones, they are hard to miss, and I can also feel those. However, you can't really see them when I am wearing my aligners. However, when I take my aligners out, they're so big, girl, that it looks like I have a tooth on top of my tooth. That's exactly how the hook is. Anyway, during my second set of aligners, I was also just wearing one type of elastic, and now I have 2 different types, but that makes for 4 elastics in total. And now that I'm speaking, you might start counting and going, wait, you only only have 3 in, and that's true. The 3 that I have on right now are the 3 elastics that I'm supposed to wear basically for the whole day. As long as I wear my aligners, I'm supposed to wear them with the elastics. But the 4th and final elastic, I'm only supposed to wear for 12 hours of the day or night. So I have opted for putting it in at around 8 or 9 o'clock p.m. so then I can take it out at around 8 or 9 a.m. the next day. And that one, you guys, that one is kind of inconveniently placed. It goes from right here to right over here, so it basically covers a lot of my top and bottom teeth, which means that I can barely get a straw past my mouth when I have that elastic in at that point, and I literally cannot even lick my lips. So again, kind of inconvenient. It's definitely something that I'm getting used to, especially because, like I said, I have worn only 2 elastics up until this point, and they really weren't in an inconvenient spot. I could just continuing on, you know? Whereas these are closer, and also one of the 2 types of elastics is a heavy type of elastic. And up until this point, I've only been wearing mediums, and now I'm on mediums, not the same ones though, and also heavy new ones. And I can definitely feel a difference between the mediums and the heavy ones, because I really can't even yawn the way I really want to yawn when I have the heavy ones in my mouth. There is definitely way more resistance. Now, timeline, I forgot to add that I have been on this 3rd set, and this is my first set of aligners, for maybe about 6 days. I think tomorrow is day 7 since I had them put in. And at this point for my 3rd set, they told me that I'm gonna have to switch out my aligners every 2 weeks from now on, whereas before I was switching them out every week. Now this apparently is so that the elastics have more time to do their job. At least that's what I was told. So period, you know what, that's what I'm gonna do. But I will say, for about 3 days and 3 nights after being put on this new journey, I really wasn't doing well, you guys. It took me that long to fully adapt because I was so sore and in such pain. It was definitely more of a dull ache than anything. And to me, those are sometimes worse because it sort of felt like it started in this one specific tooth, the slacker, he who shall not be named, okay? Even though I just named him, but oh well. And then it felt like the pressure just kept growing to the whole lower part of my right side. And then it just felt like it was expanding to my head, and I really wasn't sleeping well for those 3 days either. Pain level, I guess you could say, was maybe a 7 out of 10 for me. Now, I will say here as a disclaimer, I've been told by doctors and tattoo artists and such that I do have a high pain tolerance. I'm not sure how accurate that is because my pain tolerance is my pain tolerance, so I don't know about anybody else's, but that is something to note in case you want to take it into consideration. But yeah, I was kind of miserable for 3 days because I was in pains and aches the whole time. Now, however, I'm fine. It's not that big of a deal. One other thing I have to mention before I dip though, I was also given something called orthodontic wax. It kind of looks like this, and what you're supposed to do with it is just break off tiny little pieces of it and stick them to the hooks. I was told to do this for about the first week or maybe 10 days until my mouth gets used to this new arrangement that we have going on, because they are new and that means that they're pretty sharp. I was told that they were gonna soften over time by just eating and drinking normally, but right now, like I said, they are pretty sharp, and that's what the wax is here for. So I'm gonna use all of this until I run out. I could technically go buy more. Apparently it's available in pharmacies, but I don't think I'm gonna do that, although I will see and I will update you later on. So I think that that's it for now. Like I said, girl, plenty of new things happening. I'm gonna have to get used to these hooks, these new elastics. The fact that I'm gonna have to switch my trays out every 2 weeks now, that's gonna be a big one for me because I feel like 2 weeks is kind of a long time and they tend to get a little grimy, a little dirty. Obviously, I'm gonna try my very best for that not to happen, but I don't know how that's gonna go, and I will let you know as soon as I find out myself. But that is it for this video. If you made it this far, let's see, you are a beautiful wisdom tooth. Do you know why? It's because you are smart. Oh, I like that one. Do you guys like that one? Anyway, if you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, maybe even subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.